Hi, Macon. How are you?
Hey Josh, I'm good. I'm getting distracted by your figures in the background. I'm going to pay attention, I promise.
Oh, well, it's awesome to speak to you because I loved this film, and I think one of the things I really appreciated about it, as you can see, as a superhero fan, is the world just feels really vibrant. It feels very alive. I know you've got news reports, a little bit of dialogue, even music bands contributing to that. So, how much fun was it to create this crazy world that Toxie lives in?
I love that question. It was so much fun, and that I really enjoy, um, and particularly in a movie like this, the idea of it takes place in its own self-contained universe. So music, brand names of products, and anything like that, it's all sort of self-contained. I love that little sense of detail and world building. And so I had a really great production designer named Alex Cameron, and we spent so much time talking about how it was going to look. But the basic idea was like it's a very decayed, rundown place, but you wouldn't necessarily mind hanging out there. Like we didn't want it to be like depressing or forbidding, but it might be kind of fun to spend an afternoon walking around.
Yeah, for sure. And you've got such a great cast in this film, but Julia Davis, someone whose work I'm familiar with in the UK, Gavin and Stacey. I'm not sure if you were familiar with that show, but how well, just how blown away were you with what she did here? Because I just thought she was awesome in this film.
Dude, I was so delighted. My entryway to her was Nighty Night, and
Yeah.
and just like I was really obsessed with that show. And when we were sort of like brainstorming ideas for that character, and um, her name came up, and I got really fixated, and I was like, I felt like we had to get her, and so I really, sent a lot of emails and was trying to get her. And the interesting thing was that she was kind of fixated on what sort of accent she was going to have, and I was kind of like, look, she can have whatever accent you like. And she was like, okay, let me think about it. And the next thing I know, and I still have this on my phone, um, I get this voice memo from Julia Davis where she's doing pages from the script in like 25 different New Zealand, Australian, French, Canadian, like American South, American, like all these accents. It's like 25 minutes long, and it's just her doing voices, and it's one of the favorite things on my phone. So I felt very lucky to get to work with someone like that.
Oh, fantastic. And I think something obviously a lot of people are going to love about this film is the gore. We see arms torn off, jaws come off, heads go rolling. So as a filmmaker, how much fun is it to get hands-on with a lot of practical effects and bring that kind of craziness to life on set?
That was a lot of fun. And the thing about it was that like the first time I saw the Toxic Avenger, I was in about seventh grade at a time when my friends and I we were learning to make our own movies on videotape. And a lot of that was driven by us figuring out how to do our own effects, squibs and burns and everything. And so this really was like a full circle return to that. But with like actual technicians and people that were really good at their jobs doing it. And so that felt in a weird way like sort of being back in junior high again with your buddies, like figuring out how to make gross stuff happen on screen. It was a lot of fun.
Fantastic. And obviously the film is unrated. So did you find that, I know obviously maybe you didn't know that while you were making it, but did you just go batshit crazy when you were making this film in the hope that you could do anything or yeah, how did that pan out, do you think?
It was really there was no consideration on rated or unrated at the time. It was just kind of like I approached it as a comedy, and so
Mm.
there is some gore in there, but I was approaching all of the gore gags as jokes, and like they were meant to be punchlines, not like ooh that's cruel or that's squirmy to sit through. I think like the context is so cartoonish and so ridiculous that it's not the same thing as like what some people might call torture porn or something, where the context is very realistic and you're like, oh my God, these people are really suffering. Like this is obviously bananas, and like you kind of consciously or not, you know that nobody's really suffering. It's more like a Tom and Jerry cartoon. Um, and so in that context, I just thought of it as like, let's just put jokes in, and if anybody pushes back on it, then we can have that discussion. But nobody ever did, so it wasn't really a big deal.
Oh, awesome. And of course, the movie also has plenty to say. You tackle big corporations and health insurance, and it's never preachy, but I think it makes the film very relevant to a lot of what's happening today. So I'm guessing that was an important thing for you to have in the story as well.
I mean, from a standpoint of dramatically, meaning I wanted to make the thing that the hero has to go up against as formidable as possible. And so he's fighting street gangs and bad guys and stuff too, but mainly he's fighting this like systemic thing. And I wrote this in 2019, and I kind of felt like a corporate system where that's unaccountable, and a few people are getting rich while everyone else has no access to power or money. That's relevant in 2019. That's relevant in 1950. That's relevant any old time at all. If it feels more relevant today than then that's unfortunate. But I was certainly not, it's a mutant with a mop, so it's not going to be a thoughtful analysis of any kind of like social situation. It's escapist fantasy, and I think what it boils down to is like it sure would be nice if we could hit somebody with a mop and those problems would go away. Of course, it's more complicated than that, but it's a fantasy. So that was more just wanting to have like a context for the hero to have something to butt his head up against.
Yeah, for sure. And talking of the mop and obviously the overall character design of Toxie, obviously you had the comic books, you've got the original film, video games, the kind of all the different places we've seen him. But what was the process like of almost recreating the character and again going down that practical route with him as well?
Going the practical route was that was like kind of the first thing that I suggested to Legendary because I felt like the handmade texture of the originals was something that people would really I felt like they would really expect that. And if I felt like if we did a really slick CGI version of the character, then that just didn't feel correct in my head. So that was certainly part of it. And I think it was just a matter of trying to figure out how to make Toxie feel like he's consistent with the human version of the person that's playing him. So we did a lot of different designs, and some of them he was super, super gnarly and mutated, and they looked very cool, and I liked them, but they felt very disconnected from like the human that he started out as. So we ended up going back in a direction that was a little bit closer to something that resembled Peter's face a little bit and was a little more human in its design because I just wanted people to sort of like feel connected to him and not have it be like a an outlandish monster that's totally different from where he started.
Yeah, and of course, something that's again, as you said, this is a comedy, and I love the absurdity of the humor. That there's that great scene where Toxie is talking about whether he's killed people in self-defense or not. I thought just an awesome moment. How much fun was it for you to embrace that kind of ridiculousness and just have fun with it in a way that I think really resonates?
That was the whole driving focus for me. I was like, I mean, there are superhero aspects. I guess you could say there's monster movie aspects. There's all that, but for me, it was always a comedy first and foremost, and so I felt like it could never really take itself seriously, and so a scene like that where it's sort of like at that point in the movie we are conditioned to expect some sort of noble kind of like the hero makes a statement sort of moment, but if you pick it apart you're kind of like you murdered a lot of people, like you you did murder, right? And it's kind of like, yes, you have to sort of account for that. And so it was, I don't know. I had a good time sort of like, and in the context of a movie like this, you can do that. You can sort of shift tones a little bit, and hopefully people will go along with it because it's not totally rooted in reality, and you can kind of like shift gears a little bit and still hold on to people, I felt like.
Absolutely. And of course, you sat on this film for a couple of years, for various reasons, but it's now new reviews are coming in. It's sitting at 89% on Rotten Tomatoes, which makes it the best reviewed comic book related film of the year. So what's it meant to you to see the reception these past couple of years and now to be on the cusp of obviously fans getting to see it too?
Oh, I'm delighted. I mean, like, There was that period where the sort of the distribution was uncertain,
Yeah,
and of course that's going to be kind of nerve-wracking, but I always sort of had faith that Legendary was going to figure something out. And at the end of the 2 years, what made it worth it was being able to connect with Cineverse, who really got the movie. They got the sense of humor, and they saw the potential in it being a kind of a crowd pleaser. And so that's how they're releasing it. It's not just like, oh, we're gonna release it as like a niche little side release. Like they're really trying to like release it in a wide way. And so if waiting 2 years results in that, I'm very with the benefit of hindsight, I'm very happy to have waited.
yeah. Well, it's a definite crowd pleaser. Macon, congrats on the film because I think this is a real special movie. It's really fun movie as well. So it's been awesome to speak to you about it. Thank you.
Thank you. It's been nice talking to you as well.
Thanks so much for taking the time and congrats on this one. Looking forward to the next one.
I appreciate it, man.
Cheers. Thank you.